Hey, what's good YouTube? This is Tcg Sam here, and in today's video, I'm coming at you guys with a blast from the past. I'm going to be playing Thunder Dragons against Salamangreats in the April 2019 format. This is a Time Wizard tournament that I was able to play at. If you haven't checked out the Thunder Dragon deck profile on the channel, it's already been uploaded, so you'll know exactly what I have access to and exactly the type of cards that we're working with. But yeah, we're just going to go with the dice roll, and we do end up winning it, so we are able to go first. We're starting off with Allure of Darkness, banishing Thunder Dragon Row, which is going to allow us to summon any Thunder Dragon monster from our deck, so we choose to summon Thunder Dragon Dark. Then we're going to activate Instant Fusion to summon out Kaminari attack, linking the two away for some Summer Summoner. Thunder Dragon Dark is going to allow me to add any Thunder Dragon card from my deck to my hand, and in addition to that, we already have the Thunder Link monster on the board, which at the time was very important because it gave you 2 Link arrows, and it gave you a way to turn to Colossus right after. So that's exactly what we do. We activate the Hawk from our hand, summoning back a monster. Banishing the Colossus and the Matrix from our hand to summon out a Titan. You kind of want this as opposed to like 2 Colossus because you have more variety. It just sucks for us. Our opponent has the double Imperm, so it doesn't matter anyways. So we're just playing with our Phantasme here. Phantasme, after he activates the Bailing's effect, in a new chain he's going to activate the Gazelle effect. And then from here I'm going to Ash Blossom it, which is a very good draw. Next up, he's going to overlay for Mirage Stallion, which is going to allow him to summon out any Salamangreat monster from his deck. The great thing about having a card like Phantasme on the board as well is that I can protect my big monsters from targeting effects like the Salamangreat Mirage Stallion. I probably should have summoned it in attack so you couldn't beat over it, but it shouldn't be that big of a deal. He's going to link off his 2 monsters for Hida and summon back my Ash Blossom from the graveyard. That's also something you have to watch out for this format. Hida is incredibly popular because of Ash Blossom. It's just running around, and it was a really good card in Salamangreat. Opponent's going to link off the monsters for a copy of Yugioh, which is going to attempt to trigger the Mirage Stallion to bounce one of my monsters back, and I am going to use that Phantasme effect to protect my monsters, discarding Thunder Dragon Matrix. I do this because my monsters are very big and very difficult for him to deal with, and I recognize that he's going to struggle very hard dealing with these monsters on the following turn, so if I can just stop them right now, their protection effects will come back online next turn. He'll have an even more difficult time to taking them out. So yeah, there's not really too much you can do here. Keep in mind that there isn't a card like Access Code in this format. But yeah, he's going to summon back the Jack Jaguar by shuffling back one of his monsters into the extra deck, summoning out his Salamangreat Heatleo. And then he is going to link away the Ash Blossom and the Jack Jaguar, or he thinks about doing that. I'm not really sure what he can really do here. It's pretty difficult for him to do much. He's going to end up activating the Salamangreat Sanctuary. It's going to allow him to relink using the Salamangreat monster on his field if he so chooses. The great thing about Heatleo is that it's able to reduce attack of one of my monsters to be the same as one of the monsters in its graveyard. It's not too relevant here because all of our monsters are in defense. So he just kills Phantasme, sets the card, passes turn. So a pretty simple board for us to deal with. We just activate Instant Fusion, target the Salamangreat Heatleo, attempt to steal it. He activates a 3rd Imperm, which is really interesting. Doesn't really matter. We just forced out his back row anyways. If it's a Salamangreat Speller Trap, we forced it out. We're activating a bunch of Thunder Dragon effects in hand right now to be able to attempt to pop his monsters on the field with Thunder Dragon Titan. That's the great thing about vanilla Thunder Dragon. It's not once per turn, and now that I'm adding a card like Thunder Dragon Fusion, I'm going to be able to keep doing that. So I'm going to link off the 2 into a copy of Beat Cop just to clear up some main monster zones for us to summon monsters to. We are going to activate the Thunder Dragon Fusion, putting away the 2 Thunder Dragons and a banished resource, summoning out another Titan, activating Thunder Dragon, activating Titan again to pop, activate another Thunder Dragon effect again will pop another card, so just incredibly powerful. I'm thinking if I can go for a game right now based on what I have on board. I don't recall if I did. If I ended up popping the field, so I probably didn't have game. So I end up tribute summoning, going into Colossus, entering battle, clearing his whole board. During the end phase, Matrix returns to my hand because it was summoned off of Roar, and that gives me a Thunder Dragon Titan effect on my opponent's turn, and that's just too much for our opponent to deal with. So we do take down game 1. A very powerful opening from our end, and you can see it's very difficult in this format for a lot of decks to clear out those big monsters. So even though our opponent had like 3 Imperms, like he had double Imperm, he wasn't able to clear them on our turns because of that Phantasme. That Phantasme was just so powerful this format, allowing us to not only draw into potential hand traps, but also protecting us from those powerful targeting effects. Like, most decks have to target a monster in order to be able to out them, and that was the strengths of Thunder Dragon. It's just very difficult for your opponent to kill your monsters. So going to side decking now, of course he's going to be going first post game 2, and I'm siding in cards like Mind Control. Mind Control is incredibly good against Salamangreat. Remember, back in this format it was at 3, because just taking one of their monsters will force out their traps, or it will turn off their traps, or just make them significantly worse. And of course you can just link away the monster that you take from them as well to make like a generic link monster like Nightmare Unicorn or something. So it's an incredibly powerful card that serves multiple purposes in this deck. I also have access to a card like Denko Sekka in my main deck. It's a Thunder monster that I'm able to search off of Thunder Dragon Fusion, and that can shut off his back row. Our opponent's going to start with Salamangreat Circle. This was also at 3 during this format. Salamangreat was just at full power. So it was a pretty strong deck for his time. Starting off with Mining for Buffalo, activating the effect of Buffalo and Bailings. He's going to add the card to his hand, discarding the Spinny, and then on Resolution, activating the Gazelle. Gazelle effect's going to allow him to send any Salamangreat card from his deck to the grave, overlaying the 2 for Mirage Stallion to summon out Salamangreat Falco, linking off the 2 for a copy of Jack Jaguar. Sunlight Wolf, Jack Jaguar sends himself back. He's going to overlay the 2 for Baguska, which is a very big problem. It's pretty hard for us to deal with this format, considering there are not many very good links, and I don't play a card like Nightmare Cerberus. So I'm going to activate Allure Darkness, drawing 2 cards, banishing the copy of Dark. Thinking about what I want to banish, I believe. There are a lot of good cards in our hand. We end up banishing the Dark... I can't remember where we banished this off camera, sorry. But we do activate Thunder Dragon to allow us to search 2 more copies. From here, I just decide to set up a Thunder Dragon Matrix, turn it into a copy of Colossus Matrix, add another copy of itself. This way, at least it forces him to deal with the Colossus. I have a bunch of Thunders in grave. He's going to have to use something like Mirage Stallion to out it, or like have Imperm in order to out it. But either way, like, he's going to need to put a bigger monster on board if he wants to out it. It has a very big defense. It's 2400 defense, so it's bigger than most of his monsters. He's going to activate Sanctuary to relink into his Sunlight Wolf. I'm going to trigger the Phantasme, which is going to allow me to draw 2 cards, put a card back, and also put more presence on the board, put another body on the board that our opponent has to deal with. Yes, its effect is not really useful right now because of the Baguska, but still, like I said, a very big body for the Salamangreat deck to deal with. Colossus also shutting down cards like Signet Mining. Even though Colossus isn't normally very good in this matchup, turning off Signet Mining can be pretty huge. Our opponent does choose to put the Baguska in attack, so that means he is going for a push this turn. He's going to summon out his Heat Leo and then activate the Gazelle in his hand to be able to summon itself. Jack Jaguar summoning to his own Heat Leo points to. And then now he has a bunch of link plays that are available to him. I believe he's trying to think of a way he can summon Mirage Stallion, because at the moment, he won't be able to out Colossus unless he's able to do that, because Heat Leo's effect to reduce only reduces monsters. Our opponent does end up making Borreload. Borreload's a really cool tech. In this format, it doesn't target or anything, it doesn't destroy. He just steals my Colossus, and now Colossus's effect is now applied to me, so it's very difficult for me to actually be able to play through it if I don't have an out to it. Our opponent, you can see he had 2 search cards in his hand. He's getting a draw 2 off of the Buffalo as well. And he's just a really powerful... He's just in a very powerful position with a card like Borreload. Borreload isn't really a big deal for this deck to out, thankfully. So I start with Denko Sekka turning off his back row, activating the Instant Fusion. No, we can't Thousand Eyes Restrict Steal his Borreload, but we can steal our Colossus back, which does turn on our searches again, which is huge. I am going to banish the Roar to summon out the Dark, linking away the 2 monsters for a copy of Beat Cop just to open up some zones. Our opponent is going to summon out his Phantasme. I'm surprised he kept it in, because Thunder Dragons usually don't link summon, but it's whatever. It doesn't particularly matter because our effects don't really target anyways with something like Titan. Just here, I'm thinking about how I can get to a Titan, because Titan is pretty much one of my only outs to Borreload. Because Borreload, of course, is very big. It's hard to kill. I stand corrected. I can just mind control it. I totally forgot I had a card like that. Our opponent decides to let it go. we do get control of the board load. Yes, it can attack, but it not only opens up link zones, but it also just lets us link it away to out it later on, so we don't have to deal with something like it. Activating the Hawk to summon back the Dragon Roar. I'm thinking here what I want to do. I could go for a Unicorn play that's co-linked to board load. Seems a bit greedy though, because he has Phantasmate that he hasn't used on the board yet. Unicorn would just lose out to that. I end up linking the 2/4 Unicorn anyways. I just link away the board load just to make it so he won't get it back. I shuffle away his back row because his monsters are protected by the Phantasmate. It's very important to remember. Your opponent can just negate something that targets a monster. I end up Nightmare Phoenixing the Sanctuary. It's a bit of a mistake. I definitely should not have, I think. Because, like, I forgot he had a card like Balings in the graveyard. If I don't destroy his card, I can't draw, unfortunately, so that just took away a lot of resources from me. And once he ashes my Dragon Matrix, I have no cards in my hand, and all I have are these 3 monsters on the board. Like, although they're very good, it's still just really not any form of interruption. Our opponent has double Mind Control, which is huge. He's able to put a Fire monster on the board, and then just summon out his Salamangreat monster, and then the Salamangreat deck just lets you play afterwards. After just putting a single solid monster on the board, he's able to summon back all of his monsters pretty much off of just those 2 Mind Controls. This is just insane. I guess I could have played around it by linking away, trying to link away the Phoenix, but I just didn't think he would have double Mind Controls. Just super unlikely. There's not much we could really do in that situation. Opponent ends up relinking, does a lot of damage with his monsters, and goes for Abyss Dweller afterwards. I draw for turn, and yeah, I just scoop it up. There isn't a card that can help me. There were a few cards we could have drawn to play through that. So something like our big level 8 monsters, so like Thunder Dragon, their Dragon Duo, sorry. Because I could just banish 2 from the graveyard and trigger both their effects. But unfortunately, we didn't have access to that. And under Dweller, our cards like Thunder Dragon Fusion in the graveyard don't work, so we do lose that one. I think it was a very winnable game. I definitely should have played that a little better. I definitely should not have gone for that Nightmare Phoenix play. I probably should have tried going for like some form of a double Colossus under the Beak Cop, and then maybe go into Unicorn like with the Beak Cop and something else, and then just leave it at that. But yeah. We do elect to go first. Unfortunately, we brick. We just pass. We have an Imperm, double Thunder Dragon, and double Thunder Dragon Roar in our hand, so there's just nothing we can do. We just have an Imperm in our hand. Our opponent has his full entire combo. I Imperm the Gazelle, but like in reality, it just doesn't really do that much. I'm just trying to make it so like all he can do is just set up like follow up. He can't, as long as he doesn't kill me and I get another turn, I still have a chance to win. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do. He summons out the Jack Jaguar from his graveyard, linking away the Balings and the Jaguar for a Sunlight Wolf, and then summoning back the Jack Jaguar, grabbing back a resource, attacking for a lot of damage, setting a card, passing. During the end phase, I activate Thunder Dragon Dark. The reason I'm doing this is to thin out my deck, and it's to get it into the graveyard. We really need to draw something on this turn if we have a chance of coming back. We draw Thunder Dragon Fusion, which works. It's not great, but at least it gets our play started. If it resolves, so we add the single copy of Thunder Dragon just to get it into the graveyard. There's no choice for me here but to activate the Thunder Dragon Fusion. It gets Salamangreat roared, and there's not much we can really do. Our opponent does take it down. Very unfortunate. We bricked the last game. Not much we can really do there. That is like the big weakness of Thunder Dragons. It's a very powerful deck, but it does have consistency issues like you saw there. But regardless, if you guys enjoyed this type of content, be sure to let me know by leaving a like, commenting, and subscribing. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more Time Wizard stuff, and I'll definitely upload that. But with that being said, I just want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.